different programs, leadership, but more importantly, how you can get involved to be able to, to meet your various goals and so forth. And so one of the things that we often like to talk about at the Chamber is people, policy, and prosperity. And so certainly you'll hear a little bit more about that over the next few slides. First thing I want to do is thank our 2020 annual partners. And our annual partners are member companies and organizations that support the Chamber in a comprehensive way throughout the entire year. And so we were certainly really fortunate this year to have, these businesses and again, institutions to step up. And certainly without them would not have been able to make it through this COVID crisis this year. And so certainly want to continue to acknowledge their support of the Chamber, certainly as you prepare for 2021. If there's interest in being one of our annual partners, don't hesitate to reach out to me. We have levels of all sizes and so forth, as well as also we do the comprehensive package, like what we call here the annual partner, as well as also we do the a la carte package, which I may affectionately refer to as the dollar menu. So you go to a restaurant, you can order a value meal, or you can order off the dollar menu. When you order off the dollar menu, you get things a la carte individually based upon your hunger and how much you want to spend at the time. Same thing applies here. So our orientations are always sponsored by Expectation. And so even though we're not physically there, we want to continue to acknowledge them and thank them for their support over the years. Hopefully we'll be back at some point next year, back at Expectation. And again, but in the meantime, we want to continue to promote them and thank them for all of their years of support. I think they've actually been an annual orientation sponsor. I've been here now almost 6 years, and I think they probably are going on something like 10 years of being specifically the sponsor of the orientation. And so the other thing that they always want you guys to know is that while it's a great place for taking the family for maybe a Saturday or Sunday brunch, and it's a great place for business meetings, they also do catering. And so don't feel like you have to just go inside to utilize them. And so we want to thank Expectation. So quickly, our agenda for today, we're going to take a look inside the Chamber. We're going to talk about exactly what's in it for you. And we're going to also hone in on the benefits and how membership actually works. So look inside the Chamber. Just quickly, our mission is to accelerate business growth through connections, advocacy, and professional development. So a lot of what we do is constantly talking about connections, whether that's connecting you to individuals, connecting you to other businesses, or connecting you to people. Advocacy, that's the role that we take in terms of being that voice of business, where we interact closely with our elected officials, their staffers, both on a local, state, and federal level. With ultimately the goal being, we want to be the leader for a vibrant community where all business thrives in Howard County. In terms of the Chamber team, right now there are 4 of us. There will be some additions in the near future, but in terms of Chamber staff, we have Lynn Song, who is our Director of Operations, Taylor Tarleton, who in many respects, many of you will certainly hear from probably most often when you're getting, especially in these days, when you're having to get your Zoom links and criteria there. And then Alex Sullivan, who's our membership specialist. And Alex particularly works a lot with our members as well, whether it's setting you up, getting your profiles within our membership database, or if it's making sure that if a point person changes, if you move, but anything related to just your profile, membership experience, certainly Alex can assist you there. We're currently in the process of starting to interview in the early stages for a new director of membership. And so we hope to have someone on board realistically by Thanksgiving, if not a little sooner. And so, and then as we go into next year, we'll be looking at more than likely adding someone in the marketing realm as well. And so but that's the chamber team for right now. You can always reach out to any of us should you have any questions about programs, involvement, questions, what have you. In terms of the board, we have in total, it's a 36-member board, but right now we have about maybe 32, I think, on the board in terms of actual, but our bylaws will allow us to go up to 36. We have an executive committee that's made up of 10 board members. Our current chair, as you can see here, is Chuck Phillips, as we all call him. He's with KCI Technologies. Also on the call this morning, we're fortunate to have two of our board members with us, and our chair-elect, and Linda Ostovitz with Offutt Kerman, and then also Dina Nance as well, and with Training by Design. And so we've got a great board that is really active both in its chamber as well as the Howard County community. And so I'm going to actually just stop for a second here, and I'll finish this up. But maybe Linda, Dana, anything that you would like to say this morning?
Well, thank you. Good morning to everyone. I'm glad you're here joining us. Happy you've joined the chamber. And what I would say about the chamber, like anything else, is, we will reach out to you and we'll make all efforts to engage you. But like anything else, what you get out of your relationship with this organization will be related to what you put in it. So I encourage you, reach out, participate, get to know people. And of course, one of the best ways to do that, in my opinion, is to join a committee and really get involved with what's happening, with a small group of people, and then you parlay that into getting to know other individuals in the firm. But it's a wonderful group of people that lead this organization. And as Leonardo said, please don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us. We're thrilled to have you with us, and we're happy to make your experience be as good as it can be.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Dana?
Good morning. Good morning. I just also want to just say welcome to everyone. Looking forward to connecting with you and meeting you. And the same with Linda. The biggest thing, I always push is the committees. What happens in the committees, a lot of times we don't understand. When you join a committee and you're active on the committee, what happens is before you know it, you've built strategic partners that will begin to market for you on a regular basis. The committee normally takes no more than maybe 2 hours of your time a month. So that's the type of time that you would put into part of your marketing plan. So focus on a committee, try to find, don't try to find 2 or 3, but if you can find at least one that really works with what you're doing, or possibly 2, but when you join them, you have to be involved with them. Because what happens is it's in your involvement in which the other members begin to learn your strength and your background and your gifts and talents. So we look forward to you joining. We welcome you, and we'll be checking in with you ourselves.
Thank you, Dana. So just a few other details related to board and governance. And I share this because oftentimes we'll get members to join, and you may have aspirations of one day perhaps being on the board or what have you, and want to know, well, how does that happen? And so I like to share up front when you first join how you can really get engaged and how you, again, make yourself known. But one of the things that will typically happen is we'll have nominations that are accepted during the first quarter of the year. And so at some point in the month of March of next year, you'll see an email come out from me stating that we're taking nominations. Requirements, ultimately, you have to be up to date in terms of your membership dues, active in a chamber, both in terms of a committee or sponsorship, but also active in the community, because we like people that outside of just being involved here, but they are also involved in the greater Howard County community, thus they have reach. Also, we'll look at times the length of your membership. Board terms are 2 years that begin on June 1st and end May 31st. And ultimately, you can serve up to 3 consecutive 2-year terms, or a total of 6 years. So that's just a little bit quickly in terms of how the board works and governance and so forth. A little bit about the chamber also that we're proud of. Earlier this year, this summer, we were named the largest chamber in the Baltimore region by the Baltimore Business Journal. And so certainly excited about that recognition. And really, it's a result of you, your efforts, your dedication to us. It's something we work extremely hard at. And so I believe that when you make a decision to join the chamber, you truly are making a quality and sound investment. So we talked earlier about, in our mission statement, you saw three things. You saw connections, you saw advocacy, and you saw professional development. So when we talk about connections, one of the ways, and you've also heard it again from Linda and Dina, they talk committees. And so again, that is definitely one way that you really make sound relationships. We all come to chambers and into our respective jobs with different experiences, particularly with different personality sets. David touched on it earlier when he shared how he was always hesitant to network. At times he had to really work to push himself to get out and talk to people and so forth. Well, one of the things that helps you when you join a chamber is the committees, because you get a chance to meet people, as Dina said, in a smaller forum. Maybe it's only 8, 9 people, but those are 8 or 9 people that help you when you get to the larger room that might end up being 40, 50. And when we're able to gather in large gatherings, once again, when you get to that 100, you know people that's present. Some of the committees, we have our Legislative Affairs Committee, which I'll touch on a little bit during advocacy, various events and programs, from everything from our women's events to our different holiday parties, signature, what have you. We have a membership committee as well as communications. Some of the types of events and programs we do, we have various networking forums and mixers. Some we do just with ourselves, others we do with others in the community, as well as in the greater Baltimore area. We do legislative symposiums, leadership conferences, small business forums, which I'll touch on, as well as we have different things for those of you that may be involved in government contracting or government contractors are a client of yours. So we talk about some of the networking that takes place. Again, we really pride ourselves on being a connector. And so, and each event is always dedicated to help people expand their networks. So for instance, we've got our Young Professionals Network, and that's one oftentimes you'll see in various emails, and in some respects is also color-coded with their logos. So anything coming from what I would call the general chamber is going to have highlighted by the teal color, as you can see in the lower right-hand corner with the chamber's logo. But when you see our government contracting, it'll be dominated by predominantly that purple color that you see right at the top of, and then our YPN is dominated by more of the, I guess, maybe mustard or gold color. But our YPN program is really something for those that we like to say maybe young in career or young at heart. It's really an opportunity to get people that may be, again, trying to establish their own networks, trying to figure out how do they get involved in Howard County, how do they grow their own career. And so there's typically what I like to refer to as maybe a 3-legged stool with YPN. There's the community involvement, there's the professional growth, and then there's the networking piece. So anytime you see Celebrate, that's our professional growth and development tool there with YPN. And then we have the mixers and so forth, which really gets into the networking. And then at various times they're doing things out and about in the community. We also have our Business After Business is more of the traditional chamber networking event that people may know us for. And then we're getting ready to do a multicultural event that's going to actually be this Wednesday, that we're partnering with about 4 other organizations. I won't name them because I don't want to leave one of them out. But then we also would do multi-chamber networking as well. So in that case, we will partner and do something with, say, for instance, I think this year we did it in August, we did an event with Central Maryland Chamber, BWI Partnership, Severna Park Chamber, North Anne Arundel County Chamber. I think there was probably about 10 of us when it was said and done. And so again, that's another way truly that I like to say you can go fish in a new pond. When we talk about our legislative symposiums and so forth, that is, the work that we do on an advocacy realm. And so we have a Legislative Affairs Committee that meets monthly. and we hear from various elected officials, appointed officials, those in the development community about things that are taking place in the Howard County community. And then that's also the group that really vets a lot of the policies that are being considered and that we may take up before the board to ultimately take a position of action against. We also, through the Legislative Affairs Committee, we do 4 programs. We do an annual meet and greet in Annapolis. We do an annual meet and greet that's actually here in Howard County. This year we did it virtually, but that's really it's very informal, as you can see with the photos actually that's listed here, particularly the one at the bottom. In the past, it's really just the goal of us allowing you access to many of your elected officials. There's no structured agenda or format. It's just to give you access to them to talk about maybe concerns that you may have. The annual Chamber Day in Annapolis, we combine that with the Maryland Chambers Meet the State. And so again, the whole idea there is to bring business people to Annapolis to share their concerns with members of the General Assembly. Then we do an annual legislative preview and wrap-up breakfast. That's what's referred to as, I guess affectionately have coined it this year, Regs and Eggs. And so our upcoming Regs and Eggs breakfast will be October, I think it's 22nd. And that's where we talk about what are some of the things you can expect in the upcoming legislative session, whereas the wrap-up takes place post-session. And so, and then at various times we'll conduct various policy analysis, and you may get various call to actions where we're asking you to notify your elected officials of how certain policies may impact you in your business and the folks that you serve. Let's see here. Is it moving? There we go. So in terms of some of the leadership conferences, and this gets into that professional development piece that we talked about. So we traditionally host 2 conferences annually. We do a women's conference and a cyber conference. The women's conference this year, while we might be in COVID, we certainly did not impact us. And we just held the event virtually. We had, I think, about 175 participants online for a phenomenal day of encouragement, professional development, and so forth. So again, we're looking for members of various subcommittees for the 2021 conference. And so if there's interest there, certainly encourage you to reach out to me. Dina was on that planning committee as well. Cyber conference. This is something we've also, I think about 11 years in, have been hosting and putting on as well. This year, we've pivoted that to not necessarily be a conference, but more so a cyber series. It's also important thing to note. You do not have to be someone with David's background in terms of the NSA experience and so forth to gain value of that. We really intentionally have made it to where it's something that if you're in business, cybersecurity is now more about risk management than anything. And so this year's series is really focused on risk management. And so there are 2 sessions left. One is going to be in October, and then we'll take a break in the fall, and the last series will pick up in February. This next one in particular is going to focus on actually how to develop and build your own cybersecurity plan for your business. The other thing we're also looking at, we had planned one for this year and had to cancel it, but there are plans still for 2021 to have a YPN summit. And so again, stay tuned for that. So just a couple of other things when we talk about forums. Small business. We're big proponents of small business here at the Chamber. As it states here, over 75% of the county's employment base is firms of less than 25 employees. As it relates to us, the same goes for us. Some of the things you can look for that will help support you in that realm. We do our Ask the Experts, and that's where we really focus on topics that will be of specific interest to the small business community. Also, our Accelerate series related with YPN. And then the Small Business Seminar series. If you look, to the lower left-hand corner where you see the That's this year. We're taking what last year was a small business summit and making it a seminar series this year, recognizing that we all have various tugs on our time and can't devote a whole day to maybe being in front of the computer, particularly right now that school has started. So we're going to take about 6 topics and divide them up over 3 consecutive weeks for about 2.5 hours. We're going to go from 9 to 12:30, focusing on finance, marketing, innovation, and procurement. So details are on the Chamber's website. You can register there. Again, a tremendous series that's being planned, and we're doing this in collaboration with the county executive as well as our partners over at the Economic Development Authority. Quickly, I touched on GovConnects. And so, and when I shared as an example how sometimes the colors will change. So if you notice on this flyer here, the GovConnects dominant colors being that purple color. But for those of you that may serve the government contracting community, this would be certainly a program for you to get involved in. And maybe just quickly, I'm going to stop for a second and just maybe ask if there's anyone here that works. I think Payroll Network does. Or are there any here that either serve the government contracting community or maybe you're a government contractor yourself? And maybe the best way to do it is just use the little raising your hand symbol or thumbs up, just kind of to let me know those of you that work either with government contractors or what have you. Okay. Yeah. And I think, David, you're new, definitely new to the chamber. So welcome. Okay. I see Bill as well. Excellent. So to share with you a little bit about our GovConnects program, basically it's what we refer to as our B2G. And everything in it is, again, tied to servicing the government contractor, largely in the federal space, but we will have speakers from time to time that come and talk about state opportunities as well. So the 4 core programs that we have, and really this year it's just 3. We've, with COVID, we've kind of put the plugged in piece to the side, but we do a biz breakfast, which is once a quarter. And typically that's where we bring in, oftentimes it'll end up being acquisition offices, small businesses offices, and so forth to help our members with acquisition opportunities. I will say the one that's coming up in September, later on this month, is a little bit different and that ultimately, but it's still tied to business development. So Market Connection specifically helps government contractors with actually conducting research and actually marketing themselves to the federal government. And so they're going to be sharing with us some of their insights that ultimately can help our smaller government contractors as they look to market themselves to the various federal agencies. And so that's coming up on September 30th. Scale Up, that is more specific to kind of the day-to-day workings within your business. So for instance, the one coming up, I think it may be this month, actually maybe this week or next week, is going to be related to M&A activity. And ultimately, one of the things we know with our government contractors is that in the back of many of their minds, there's always, how do I position myself to have the company be of value to where ultimately someone may either want to purchase or whether maybe I may want to grow through acquisition or what have you. So that's what this month's Scale Up series will focus on. And then the C-suite dinners are private group dinners that we'll host with the subject matter experts, specifically to foster high-level networking with the owners of companies. It's intentionally limited to about 8 to 12 people. And so again, that's kind of our GovConnects program. Certainly you can reach out to me if you have additional questions there and how you can get involved. Also, I will say we have a specific newsletter geared just for government contractors through the GovConnects program. So just a few little tidbits on the ins and outs of membership. So one, your membership runs on an anniversary basis. And we use the 15th of the month as the time for where we determine what becomes your anchor month. So as an example, today being the 14th, if you were If you join the chamber on the 14th of this month, your anchor month is September. If you join on the 21st, your anchor month is October. And that's just to help us with billing. That simple. But once you actually join, you're a member immediately. Membership right now are based upon the size of the firm. And so, yeah, and so there are various levels starting at sole proprietor, going from 2 to 5, 6 to 25, 26 to 50, 51 and up. We have right now a not-for-profit rate structure and a for-profit rate structure. The other big thing that we also like to make sure that people know is that membership belongs to the company, not the individual. So you may make a decision to join your business, but if you get busy, or maybe you work and you're the owner of the company, but you've got someone in HR and you see the women's conference and you say, oh, wow, I want them to attend that. Or maybe you work in marketing, and so you're responsible for the outreach. But again, there's something that you think, hey, my CEO might appreciate this. The big thing to know is that once the company or organization joins, anybody affiliated with that organization can participate in chamber activities and so forth. One of the things that we also like to make sure that we do is that we facilitate members, to get increased exposure. So these are just some of the many ways that you can increase this exposure for yourself. Everything from ribbon cuttings, and we're doing those virtual, to the newsletters, tabletops at events, making sure also we have a job board. So if there are jobs available at your company, there's no charge for that. But these are just various opportunities for exposure and visibility. The other thing we have as well is a number of affinity programs and ways that you can save money. So you heard a little bit about trouble and that, but I also want to take a moment here as well and see. I can't see if CQI.
I'm here.
Joe, are you still on?
I'm still on.
Okay, I just couldn't. When you share screen, it changes the way all of the your blocks look. So, but Joe, if you would share a little bit about CQI, the Energy Co-op, particularly because I know we're in open enrollment right now, and this is another way that those of you, whether you own the business or you can, it helps both the business and it can help your employees individually as well. So, Joe, I'm going to give you a few minutes to talk a little bit here.
And let me clear the air real quick. It seems like anytime anybody hears, oh, this energy guy, it's one of those guys that bangs on the on the door, rings the phone off the hook. We don't do any of that stuff. I think everybody at this point understands that you can shop the supply portion of your electric bill and natural gas bill for your home and for your work. You can go out, you can shop everybody. You can create a spreadsheet writing all the different programs down. You can even do a 3-year market analysis. But at the end of the day, you still leave the money on the table because you as an individual don't have the same buying power as a Walmart or Northern Grumman. The Chamber's program works on the principle of aggregated buying pools. We'll take your usage, members of this chamber, and members of 23 other chambers. All combined, now we have the leverage. We go out on your behalf, we shop all the suppliers, and we come back with a rate lower than what you can get on your own. There is no cost whatsoever. It's part of your membership benefit. The savings you see 99.999% of the time actually equals your highest 1-month bill, total bill, and covers your membership dues. So all of the incredible benefits that Leonardo is going over today, you're now getting for free. This is for you, your family, your staff, and their family, all at no charge. Like Leonardo said, we are in the process of doing an open enrollment during the month of September. We do 2 major campaigns, one in the spring, one in the fall, because that's when the best rates are around. Last fall's program, we saved the members a total of over $889,000 annually That averaged out to $4,000 an individual. Now, everybody's savings was different based upon your level of usage, but the savings is there, and we're expecting the similar savings on this go around. If you have any questions, there's information as far as on the Chamber's website. You can reach out to me. I put my information in the chat box, and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Thanks.
And while we're here, not David, but Joe, we've got a question from David Tillman. David, you're muted. There we go. Oh, your hand came up. That's why I'll just lower it here. All right. But so I'm going to have also, Alex is going to be adding a link to the different affinity programs so you can get a description of them. But just to quickly go through them, you've got obviously networking with Trouble, you've got energy savings with CQI. If you are a member of for-profit business of 10 employees or less, you get free membership in the Maryland Chamber of Commerce through our federation agreement. Windfall helps you save with various office supplies. The accident fund is tied to your workers' comp insurance and more. So certainly encourage you to take a look at that link just to see what opportunities are available to you through the Chamber. Let's see here. There we go. So the next piece here, and I think we just have just a few more slides left, but want to just also make sure that you know what you can do through the membership portal. And so Alex Sullivan, who is with the Chamber, and I introduced her to you with the video earlier, with her picture earlier. Alex, if you would just kind of share a little bit about the members only portion and kind of some of the things they can do on the back end.
Absolutely. So depending on how you join the Chamber, whether you join online or join in person, if you join online, you're going to go ahead and log in, and you'll have a login created for you in our member portal. Then you'll actually be able to have access to all sorts of different features that you will be able to feature on our website, including you can post a job offer, and those actually are free. All of these are free. You can post upcoming events. You can also register for any events that you would like to attend that we're hosting. You can also get in touch with other members through the member portal. Actually, you have to be logged in, and you can actually submit your information through their profile that you would find in the member portal. You can and we also have something called an enhanced listing. If you choose to purchase the enhanced listing, it's about $150 a year, but then you can actually add your company logo. You can add a gallery of photos. You can even have an embedded YouTube video, and that gives you a little bit more pop to your listing on the website. If you have any questions about any of that, just please email me. I'm going to put my email address into the chat so that everybody can get in touch with me, and I'm happy to help anyone with anything when it comes to our member portal. And I think I kind of is it with that. And, yeah. So enjoy.
Thank you, Alex. And the other thing also that I'll just add to this as well is that the other way that this will work that's good also is once you're set up in here one time, you don't have to go back and do it each time you register for something. In addition, if you have another person from your company or organization to register, their individual profile gets tied back to the company profile as well. And so definitely, and Alex can send over, for those of you that don't have your login and username, because you can pay invoices here. But definitely you can do a lot with making sure your information is up to date and so forth. So just lastly, I always like to say, give these what I call 5 keys to success. The first is really to get involved, and only you can determine to what level and magnitude and time commitment and so forth. But certainly we like to say get involved. Joining a committee is certainly one way to really start to meet people. The second is to participate, and that is attend events and programs as your schedule allows. We recognize that some of you, depending on what it is that you may do, may have busy seasons. If you're in the tax business, obviously second quarter is pretty rough and we don't always see those guys much. But then we also know sometimes that with our government contractors, oftentimes we may not see them much around Easter, that it always seems like somebody's working on a proposal somewhere around spring break or Easter. And then we also notice that we'll end up not seeing them sometimes around the beginning of the fiscal year at times. But we understand that business can get in the way of attending events, and that's fine. But certainly attend and participate as your schedule allows. The third thing is take advantage of the various discounts. As Joe touched on it, some of these things ultimately, depending on what you could save, I know I've heard it with the accident fund, some of the savings can end up paying for your membership in the process. And then fourth, keep us informed. If your company, we like, hopefully you've seen in the membership newsletter that comes out Mondays, we like to promote our members and things that are taking place in their businesses, whether it's promotions, whether it's some type of award recognition. So if you're named best place to work, let us know. If one of your attorneys is one of, the Daily Record's top 50 employees, or if you're 100, top 100 women. But ultimately, if there's some type of positive accolade, certainly let us know so we can help promote. We do that in the newsletter. We do it oftentimes via social media with LinkedIn and our pages there, as well as on Twitter, et cetera. And then the last thing is utilize your resources. Each one of you, when you join, you received an email from either Alex or Ronnie that connected you to a chamber board member, as well as also to an ambassador. If you have any questions about chamber programs, certainly reach out to your ambassador. As an example, Barbara Moyer is one of our ambassadors. And so when she reaches out, she's reaching out because she wants to make sure that you're getting the most out of your chamber experience. And the other part of it is she can speak to you in a way that maybe Alex and I can't, because she's coming at it strictly, she's looking at things through your lens. And so want to encourage you to utilize your ambassadors if you have questions, or call on us. Communications is certainly key here. And all of these things you'll notice, if you do these things, then certainly I think you'll be able to find benefit through the chamber. Just some upcoming events. The Multicultural Symposium, which will be this on Wednesday the 16th from 9:30 to 11. We're doing this again. This is a second year. We've done that last year, more of a mixer. This year, we've changed the format. And so the first half will be networking. The second hour is going to be, well, not second hour, but the first half hour will be some networking. And then there'll be an hour where we'll have a discussion related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. The 22nd is our executive speaker series. And we've got a great discussion here that's going to focus on the impact of COVID-19 in healthcare. And so we've got representatives from Kaiser, we've got the CEO of Howard County General, as well as one of our physicians who are going to be on a panel and talking about ultimately some of the changes and what you might expect in the future, and ultimately how ultimately COVID has impacted everything from maybe insurance to delivery of services and so forth. And then our Scale Up series with GovConnects, as I touched on, which will focus on M&A activity or mergers and acquisitions and so forth. And that's going to be on the 24th. There are other events on the Chamber website, but these are the ones that are coming up soon. The other thing that's not mentioned here, but I do want to just touch on it, and that is I shared the fact of the open enrollment with the CQI Energy Program. Joe Tabling is conducting a series of webinars. So even if you just want to better understand exactly what that program is, Joe has a number of webinars coming up that he can share with you. And I think we have them in the newsletter as well. That'll be coming out a little bit later. But let's see here. And then you can see some of the other events from coming up in the upcoming month, the latter part of the month, particularly starting with the Small Business Summit. Again, want to recognize and thank our annual partners for their continued support. And here's some other ways you can stay involved with the chamber in terms of social media. Everything from Facebook to Twitter to LinkedIn and Instagram. And I think with that, that is going to wrap us up here. I'm going to stop the share, and we'll just take any questions that any of you may have. And certainly if not, then I think we told you 9:30, but we'll give you back about 15 to 20 minutes of your day. So is any questions here? Comments?
Say you were so powerful, Leonardo, to give someone back 15 minutes of their day. So thank you. Not everybody can do that.
Oh, well, hey, I know if you're like Alex and me, you've got some people have some little folks that got to get logged on the computer and so forth because school is starting, or actually, I guess they're still technically, I guess in quote, maybe homeroom at this point in time. But big thing is thank you all for your support of the chamber. If there are any questions or anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're available. And so with that, I will wrap things up and have a great day and great week.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody.